This is the plaintiff, Juan Angel. He says he brought his car to the defendant's car wash for an exterior wash only. When the car came out the other end, one of his guys was wiping down the interior, and the careless man damaged his navigation screen. The defendant's a bad businessman who refuses to compensate him, so he's suing for the $1,224.28 he's owed. This is the defendant, Dario Obregon. He says the plaintiff returned to his car wash 5 days after his car was washed, claiming one of his men damaged his screen. The hothead started threatening to sue right from the beginning of their conversation. He wouldn't even let him see the so-called damage, and he refuses to be shaken down by the likes of this dishonest person. He's accused of wiping his way into a lawsuit.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says that he brought his car to the defendant's car wash, and one of the defendant's employees somehow damaged the plaintiff's navigation screen. But the defendant says the guy came back to him complaining 5 days after the car wash. So who knows what happened? It's the case of getting the brush off.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Angel, you took your car to Mr. Sparkle Corporation Hand Car Wash, represented here by Mr. Obregon. You're the owner, Mr. Obregon?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so Mr. Angel, you brought your car there on what day?
I brought it on a Saturday, January 8th.
Okay, and what happened?
Well, I took it in. I specifically told the guy, I even explained it in Spanish. I told him, I only want a car wash on the outside. Don't touch it on the inside at all. And when I see like one of his guys like wiping down my car on the inside, I'm like, watch, this guy's gonna do something, and then he's gonna say it wasn't him.
Well, if you saw him go inside your car, why didn't you tell him, I don't want you to do anything inside?
Because I was like all the way at the top at that waiting area.
Okay, all right,
Like,
so
they don't let you get close to like the vehicle.
so what happens?
So they damaged my navigation. They used.
Well, I assume if you saw him in the car and you immediately thought, watch what happens, they're going to damage something and then they're going to say it wasn't them, the first thing you did was look for damage while you're still at the car wash, right?
You can't see it at night. It was night. I noticed it like after I parked it and I moved it on Wednesday.
So, Mr. Angel, if you're thinking all these thoughts, why don't you just get in your car, put the lights on, and take a look at everything and make sure nothing happened?
Your Honor, my mistake was trusting a so-called business to like actually follow your instructions.
Okay, but I'm asking you, like, see, one of two things is true. You weren't thinking that while you were watching them, or you were, and it makes no sense that you wouldn't look for damage at that moment if you were fearing damage. I don't get it. So one of those two can't be right, because if you're sitting there like you're describing under oath to me now saying, oh, you watch, they're going to break something and then they're going to deny it happened. I thought that in my head. And, you know, then you walk to the car, you put on the lights and you look for damage. That's what a person would do who was fearing that. So you don't do that. You go home and 5 days later, what do you find?
So I parked my car as soon as like I left. And I had to take my mother to a doctor's appointment on a Thursday, which was on the 13th, at 9 o'clock. That's when I realized that there was damage there.
And what was the damage?
The damage was, like, there was a big scratch going underneath the bottom of, like, the screen from one end to end.
Okay, I have some pictures of that you provided to me, and I want to know where I am to see the scratches. Can you see what I have up there?
Yeah, the actual screen.
Okay, so you're saying there's like a white line that I'm seeing as a scratch?
Yes.
Okay.
So that went through, like, the protective coating, and it actually scratched, like, the actual plastic.
I saw that you submitted into evidence what the cost of a brand new screen with a brand new, with installation and everything, and it would be $1,200 and something. Did you ever take it anywhere and have them look at it and have them diagnose that in fact the screen is scratched, or no?
Yeah, I took it to Lexus. And Lexus told me, like, this has a protective coating, and it went through the coating, and this is what it's going to cost to replace it.
Did Lexus put that in writing?
No.
All right. Let me hear from you, Mr. Obregon.
Okay. I received a call like 5 days after he went for the service. And he was claiming that the navigation screen was damaged when the service was done. I asked him why he thinks that happens, and he was telling me that he thinks that the screen was damaged because when the technician was cleaning the screen, he wiped it down with a dirty cloth. And I told him that that's very odd. I mean, I found it very odd because usually the guy uses several pieces of clothes when going to the car to clean. One gets dirty, he throws it away and keeps the other one, that way he don't come out of the car. And the other thing I found very odd is that how he will know that the piece of cloth was dirty if he needs to be sitting next to him in order to to conclude that observation.
What year car is this, Mr. Angel?
It's a 2019. I got it, like I actually paid for it back in December 27th of 2021.
Okay.
So it barely had 2 weeks when I took it to his place.
Right. Well, you had it barely 2 weeks. It was 3 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Obregon, go on. So you tell him, well, how would you know if you used a dirty cloth? You're just guessing at this. And
yeah. So basically, what I proposed to him was, let me see the damage, and I will take it from there. He went to the car wash, but he talked with one of my guys, with the manager. I wasn't at the car wash at that moment, so I asked him to come back to meet me in person. That way I'll deal with it. You know what I mean? It's no problem. I take a look, we find some type of solution. But he went right after the lawsuit. He was like, he didn't show up anymore to the car wash.
Nope.
He simply sent me the demand letter. And in the demand letter, he recanted the story. He changed the story.
How so?
Now, it was damaged because they cleaned it with Windex. And that's another claim that I find very hard to believe, because the Windex is a chemical specially designed to clean glass, and it's very, very difficult to damage that type a screen like that. And I clean hundreds of screens a day on the car wash, and I never had that type of claim. I sent him a letter asking him to come back to the car wash and take a look and see what we could do about it, but he still proceed with the lawsuit. And I told him, listen, if you want to.
He says he went to the car wash. In the demand letter, he says he went there and he spoke to you and you brushed him off.
No, it wasn't me.
You did. I got your number, man. I told you, like, hey, this is better for you to come in and see this. And you said, I got no time for you.
Oh, wait, so you didn't see him at the car wash?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Manager.
You spoke to the manager. So he didn't blow you off at the car wash. He blew you off on the telephone when you were at the car wash.
Exactly.
Okay, I got
told him, like, hey, look, this is a big issue right here, and it's going to cost a lot of money. It's better for you to come in person and see this.
Yeah, but did you have
no,
an appointment? I mean, if he wasn't there, he wasn't there. Well, how about setting an appointment where the two of you can talk?
Right, but I told him, like, hey, look, and he's like, hey, go get your receipt for proof. Like, you didn't bring it here. And I'm like, dude, like, you made me sign a receipt there, so you should have, like, the copy of the receipt there. I shouldn't have to, like, look for the receipt. And that's what you specifically told me, man. Like,
Right.
I went home, I couldn't find the receipt, and luckily for me that I paid with a credit card.
Yeah, sure.
And I had the proof on the credit card.
Right.
So I came back, and I showed it to his manager. That's when he brushed me off.
Who brushed you off? The manager?
Yeah, he told me come back. He told me come back when I find the receipt for proof. And I'm like, dude, I shouldn't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like, you guys got, like, a copy of the receipt.
Yeah, I'm not.
It
It doesn't matter whether you can find your receipt or can't find your receipt. If you can prove that you were there, then that's all the receipt proves. What you need to be able to prove here is that they damaged it, and that's the part I'm having like a little bit of difficulty with, because it's 5 days later when you bring it up, and that means something, you know. And that's the difficulty I'm having. If you are watching them and you are like, oh, you see now that this is what's going to happen, the first thing you would do is put the lights on and check the car and see if there's any damage. You wouldn't wait 5 days for that, even though you're not using your car. You would have looked right at that minute. I am also having like a little bit of difficulty trying to figure out how a microfiber would damage when they're cleaning your car. It has to have rocks in it or something. How could microfiber do that damage? Is it the microfiber? Is it the Windex? Is it the ammonia? Which is it?
Right, it might be like a combination of both, but obviously something damaged.
Well, what damage? Let me ask you
Microfiber-
this. I'd like to look at that picture again and ask you what damaged the rim, because you see the rim being the lightest silver part. There's all kinds of scratches, right?
Yeah, and they did that.
Well, are you saying that you see these dark scratches that are going up and down on the bottom of this picture? Are you suggesting a microfiber did that?
Yes, well, the microfiber tile, you're actually correct. A microfiber tile by itself
Yeah, but
would not
look
scratch
at all
like
the
finish.
scratches I'm looking at there. You're suggesting that somebody wiping with a microfiber would have done those scratches?
Right, let me explain to you, Your Honor.
Answer my question.
You're actually correct. I am going to answer.
Okay,
it.
good.
Give me a chance, Your Honor.
Uh-huh.
All right. So a microfiber towel by itself, like when it's like fully clean, is not contaminated. Now, if you wipe something down another section of like the vehicle and that has dirt, it picks it up.
Okay,
You
well,
can't see
dirt
that, like,
didn't
with the naked
scratch
eye.
that plastic. Whatever scratched the plastic had to be harder than the plastic. Tell me what kind of dirt could scratch that plastic rim around you that's all completely scratched up. Look at it.
It could be like some little pebbles. It could be like some little like glass.
This
Like, I
picture
don't know,
actually
like-
shows it better. You're suggesting that there were pebbles or glass in the microfiber that did this. That's a lot of supposition on your part. You know, when you come into court, you have the burden of proof as the plaintiff, proving that it happened the way you're saying it happened, that it's more likely than not. Typically, a person in your position does that by showing me pictures of it before this happened, if they have it. And then they say, look, I spotted it on the spot. I went nuts. I called them. They took pictures. It happened. You don't have either of those. You're in a position where you bought a car. The car was a 3-year-old car. It has scratches on it. I could buy what you're saying with the Windex and I guess that certainly could be a problem and whatever else. But then there's scratches all over the plastic casing, and you're suggesting to me that happened then too. You're suggesting to me that the minute you saw them in your car, your first thought was, oh, you watch, they're going to damage my car, and then say they didn't do it, and then you get in the car and you don't look for damage and you don't notice it until 5 days later. You're just, you're not carrying your burden of proof, and my verdict in this case is for the defendant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
So the plaintiff fails to convince the judge that he deserves to prevail and get $1,224 back from the defendant. Let's talk to Mr. Angel. What are you thinking, sir, right now?
Yeah, I think her judgment was, like, honestly, like she didn't even want to listen to me. Like her, this is the way
She listened to you. That
denied-
five-day delay didn't help you any. You should have gone back there right away. Don't you think so?
I did. Like I called them and they wouldn't pick up the phone. You know what I mean? I got a job too.
No, I hear you, but the fact is you didn't get back there right away, and that didn't help your case at all. What can I tell you? The judge found in favor of the defendant. She didn't think you proved your case, and that really is the bottom line. Nothing more can be said about it. You lost. Unfortunate.
Man. You have a good day, all right?
Well, there's a rather upset plaintiff. Mr. Obregon,
Oh, my God.
does this happen very often to you? People come to you claiming your guys damaged their cars when maybe they didn't? How about that?
This type of cases specifically is very, very rare, because most of the people I deal with is very honest people, straightforward, community that I work with. I don't see this that often. This is the kind of man that I want to pull a fast one in order to gain some compensation for a bogus claim. This is rare, fortunately.
Well, it's true. There's a lot of high-tech, material, devices, and equipment inside today's new cars. You really got to be careful cleaning in there, don't you?
Oh, sure. We're very professional. That's right.
All right. Well, listen, good for you. Congratulations. You've prevailed.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate all your help.
Okay. Very good. All right, Harvey.
So this is so important. When you go to something like a car wash or you leave your car with a valet, give it the once-over before you leave. If you're at a car wash, you drive off that lot, you have lost 50% of your case right there. Look at it. Take the time. It will pay off in the end, I promise. And if you don't, it won't.
We just had new neighbors move in next door a few weeks ago, and ever since then, they've left their backyard light on all night, every night. The light's so bright, it lights up my whole yard as well as their own. It's become intrusive when my family is relaxing out back at night. Do I have any recourse?
Wow. You're asking that question of someone who is noise sensitive and light sensitive.
Right.
And
So you just shoot out the light, is that it? You get
no, but that's a really good idea. I wasn't going to say that, but yeah.
Get a rifle.
No, my advice, of course, is to introduce yourself to your neighbors.
Right.
Ask them if there's any solution to this. Aim the light in a different spot. There's always the best way is to just be neighborly and ask if they'll put it at a lower wattage.
Right.
Kind of.
Let's assume the neighbor's a jerk.
Let's assume the neighbor's a jerk.
You could also ask them to set it on one of those
timers or motion sensor.
Yeah,
and if it were me, I'd offer to pay for the motion sensor just to keep.
And you could shield it if part of it glares towards your yard.
Yeah, I mean, you could do anything you want from your land. You could certainly put an umbrella, or you could put whatever you can do whatever you want. But in terms of going to court and forcing them to turn off their light, you would really have to prove that it's going beyond lighting.
In other words, do that with video and photos and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
but it has to be. There's a standard. It's not. Is it annoying you? And that's why I mentioned how light and noise sensitive I am.
Totally unreasonable.
I can hear a noise 2 rooms over, and you'll look at me and say, "It's crazy."
Right.
But I can hear it.
Yeah.
Right. That's just you cough and hide that you're calling me not very well. That you're calling me crazy.
Yes,
but
I do.
It can't just be, "Hey, I want my neighbor's light off."
Right.
No, tough for you.
Right.
It has to be that the light is creating a nuisance. It's so glaring. It's so beyond what's permissible. It's
interfering with your normal use and enjoyment of your property.
And not because you're squirrely, but because anybody in your position would feel that way.
Right.
So it's kind of, a tougher burden. So it's way better to just knock on their door and attempt to find some amicable solution.
So don't go reaching for the BB gun to shoot out the
Don't reach
bulb.
for the BB gun.
Don't
That's
go
a terrible idea.
Don't go rent a Klieg light and put it in your yard and just shine it at their house for a week.
Don't do those things that you're thinking of. Don't do those.
I can't help it.